how the distribution of our cases among districts across the country. So you can see that Savannah, Bono East, and other places, Ahafo has no case yet. Bono has only reported one imported case. Ashanti is concentrated mainly in Kumasi and its environs and Obuasi. Eastern region is in the lower Menya based on the camp and a few sporadic cases in a few districts. Western is located in the Takoradi area. And the central region has a high dose caseload in Elmina, which we are looking at. And of course, Greater Accra carries the largest burden, mainly in the Accra Metro and its environments. You see that if you go to the next slide, you can see for Greater Accra, I'm just concentrating on the two main regions that provide more the cases. Greater Accra, you can see that it's all Adan East, Adan West, Shai Oshidoku, Ningo Pram. So far, nothing happening there. But you have them in Accra Metro and the district that have been mentioned that has been displayed on the board. If you go to the next slide, which is Ashanti region, you can see that the concentration is mainly in Kumasi and its environs, and then you have the Obuasi come up. We have a few sporadic cases in Santachim and Adansi South area. I think we've been talking a lot about recoveries. So the next slide will give us a bit insight on recoveries, how we say in Africa. The total case reported in Africa from the last time we checked showed about 89,000 cases in Africa and 38.8% recoveries. You have the Ghana ranks quite low. We have 29.6% recoveries, but we have countries with 44.4% recoveries. Obviously, there are different parameters that are used in measuring this. The next slide. You have you can go to the next slide, the same repeat slide. You can also have for West Africa, in terms of the ranking, you can see not necessarily in ranking, Ghana has 29.6%, but we have Niger with 77.2%. We also need to look at the number of cases. Now, when it comes to the recoveries, as I've been saying, when someone is ill, if you do not die, the life course or the nature of the disease, within 3 weeks, you'll recover. And I'm sure most of us have the experience. So from the beginning, when we have 1, 2, 3, you are not expecting any major recoveries in the first 1 month. After which, they will come. But as you have more cases, 3 weeks later, you should expect more cases recovering. And so that's why you're having an exponential increase in the number of cases. If you go to the regional breakdown, you see that Ahafo, of course, they have no case, so they have no recovery. Ashanti has had 213 recoveries, and that's about 24%.
Now, still on COVID, authorities at the Ho Teaching Hospital have closed down the surgical ward for disinfection following a suspected positive case reported among one of the staff. 41 cases have so far been recorded in the whole of the Volta region in the latest number of national figures released by the Ghana Health Service. Correspondent Fred Kwame Asare reports the current situation at the regional hospital has increased anxiety and fear among the staff. Amos Jar joins us on the phone. He is Public Relations Officer for the hospital. Mr. Jab, thanks for joining us. When did the hospital discover that your staff member had been infected, and when was the closure carried out?
Thank you, my brother, and thanks for having me. Good afternoon to your cherished listeners. Like you said, the surgical theater was closed temporarily on Sunday. because a staff who works in that department tested positive for COVID-19 through general surveillance, because she's, according to our checks, she's not been feeling too well, a bit of sore throat and flu-like symptoms from around the feet of this man. So she came to the facility for treatment, and through general surveillance, they decided to check for COVID, and the results came back and she's positive. So we have to close that department, that side of the surgical theater where she works temporarily. And then so Sunday it was done, and then Monday the place was disinfected. As we speak now, they are cleaning the place up for normal work to resume.
When will normal work resume?
After the cleanup, hopefully by close of day, they should be done with the cleanup.
The patients who would have gone there, where are they being treated?
For the moment, we don't have emergency surgeries at hand. All we have are elective. So once they are elective, they can be rescheduled. So we are just hoping that an emergency doesn't come in. But should that happen, we will find alternatives to deal with that, because there are other theaters in the facility where that can be carried out after the patient has been actually examined to know the extent of exposure. That will not happen to any staff.
The staff members who worked with this patient, where are they now? How many contacts have you traced?
Yeah, like I said, the surgical theater, they have, in her department, she works with three people. Three people. So those three are on self-quarantine now. Their samples have been taken for testing. Now, there are other members of the surgical department who we can say they are secondary contact. Tomorrow morning, their samples will be taken. Just to, as a precautionary measure, to know that at least nobody is left out. Because, with COVID, even though we are dealing with it, it has a psychological effect as well. So people think that they are exposed. So you need to take them. So the secondary contact, their samples will be taken tomorrow morning. The primary, they have been taken care of. And so they are in self-quarantine now.
Are these secondary contacts also in self-quarantine?
No.
Why not?
In self-quarantine. Come again?
Why not? Why are they not in self-quarantine?
Because secondary contacts are not as dangerous as a primary contact. Even though we are treating them with the same, we are taking them through the same process, because they don't come directly in contact with the person that tested positive. But it's one department, so we are just being precautious.
But they are coming to work still.
Yeah, they are here. They are working.
Mr. Jah, in the Thermafission factory case, 533 people were infected by one person. Surely they were not all primary contacts.
The way in the Pioneer Food Candy, if I may use that word, we are not told whether all the 513 are primary or secondary. We are not told that. But what I'm saying is that we have departments within the unit where each worker is stationed. So the three that are close to where the person works, they have been asked to self-quarantine as their samples were taken. Now the rest, the samples are being taken tomorrow morning, but we don't think they are in a critical moment, or as say they are not primary contact. So work must go on as we and they are even in the ones who are even doing the cleaning. Part of those who are doing the cleaning for services to resume in the facility some time later in the day.
Mr. Jah, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome, my brother.
Now, she came into contact with a patient of coronavirus who later tested positive at the Bolgatanga Regional Hospital in March this year. After exhibiting symptoms of the disease days after, head of the neonatal intensive care unit of the hospital, Dr. Gillian Boji, had to be airlifted to the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital for critical care. 20 days after hospitalization, she has now tested negative twice and has been discharged. Dr. Boji has been sharing her near-death experience exclusively to my colleague, Komla Adom, as part of a yet-to-be-aired documentary. Here are excerpts.
I felt I couldn't breathe very well, especially when I had coughed for a very long time. I felt I couldn't breathe very well. So I decided to check my SpO2, and it was ranging between 65 to 70% of oxygen. So initially they nebulized me, and then I was put on intranasal oxygen the ambulance came, took me to the airstrip, and then I was airlifted to Tamale, where another flight was ready with the team waiting for me. And then I was brought to Kotoka, where there was another ambulance waiting for me. And I was brought to the medical ICU, Kolebu Teaching Hospital.
Wow. Do you remember anything that happened to you when you got to the ICU, medical ICU at Kolebu?
Yes, I do remember. One thing I didn't tell you was when I started desaturating, I started writing down messages from my family. I started videoing myself because at a point in time I gave up. I knew that I have the COVID, but it was like nobody believed I had the COVID, and anything could happen at any time. So I started writing messages and I started videoing myself, what I was going through, and then in my diary.
If you say anything could happen, you thought you were going to die?
Yes, I actually thought I was going to die. Yeah, that was what was running through. So I would just sit down and then ask myself, so what next? Then I would just say, Lord, may your will be done. That was just what was running through my head. And then they kept on monitoring. So they would come in at 6, they would come in at 10 a.m., 6 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., 6 p.m., and then 10 p.m. In all, I managed to get all the staffs that attended to me. 33 staffs attended to me in the medical ICU. 33, including nurses and then doctors, 33 staffs. So I was alone in there and I started thinking, okay, so what next? All this while my husband would call to see how I was doing. So when I told him my test result was in and I was actually positive for COVID, he was like, do you know something? Are you still on oxygen? I said, no, the oxygen has been taken away. He said, yes, that's just it. You would make it, you would pull through. God was in control and everything was going to be okay. And from the way he spoke, I could feel, I know him, I could feel he was crying, but he never, I would always see him on video when he's talking. But this particular day he was hiding his face and then his voice was a bit shaky.
He didn't want you to see that.
Yes, but he kept on encouraging me and telling me that everything was going to be okay, everything was going to be fine. Yeah, so I spent 8 days in the medical ICU and then later on I was moved to fevers unit where I spent 12 days. Then the most interesting thing I experienced during my recovery was the fact that most of the mothers whose kids passed through the newborn care unit, I don't know one way or the other.
How they got to know?
They got to know that Dr. Bugui was not around and was sick and was actually having this condition. So they would call. When I don't pick, they would send me messages, and some of them went a step further by recording some.
The full conversation airs on this channel at 6:30 p.m. On to other stories, and 3 teacher unions are resisting plans by the Ghana Education Service to reopen schools in June. The Ghana National Association of Teachers, the National Association of Graduate Teachers, and the Coalition of Concerned Teachers wrote to the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Opoku Amankwa, warning of poor patronage of classes should government go ahead to reopen schools without conferring with parents and teachers on the way forward. President of NAGRAT, Angel Carbonu, spoke with Ernest Menu on Newsdesk.
And it is based on fact, then we also have to change our modus operandi. For example, if it's going to be with us for a long time, like malaria has been with us for a long time, like typhoid has been with us for a long time, like hepatitis B has been with us for a long time, are you going to continue quarantining people for a long time? Because if that statement is true, the next year by this time we should be expecting over 500,000 people under quarantine. Which country can be able to quarantine people 500,000? You sure we can do that?
Should the president decide to lift the ban to ask schools to reopen, are you teachers ready?
How can you be ready when your life is at stake? You mean we should be ready and go and die?
If government decides to give you protective gears,
your station this morning interviewed a medical doctor from Tamale Teaching Hospital who was in protective gear, got infected by a coronavirus patient, and was flown from Tamale to Korle Bu ICU unit.
Yes, Mr. Kabonu, but...
And she is a trained medical practitioner. I am not a trained medical practitioner. Even she, though she is a trained medical practitioner, got infected and was flown from Tamale to Korle Bu ICU for treatment. She indicated this morning on Joy FM that even while she was in intensive care, the situation was so bad that she started writing her last statements to her family. You mean teachers will be prepared and ready to handle a situation like that, though they are not medically trained?
You're going to have the sanitizers, for instance. You're going to have water. You're going to... what if the GS, for instance, decides that together with the health ministry, they're going to run testing in the various schools to be sure that those who are positive are isolated, and then there'll be some social distancing protocols observed in the classroom?
Minister Dr. Bernardo Coboy says guidelines are being developed for a possible return to a semblance of normalcy after months of restrictions were instituted to contain the spread of the virus. He spoke on Joy Prime TV's morning show, Prime Morning.
People suddenly drop because they've had a complication from the heart.
Right.
So the point is that as a health manager, as a leader of this fight, our incident commander in Ghana, as in the leader, is the president himself. When you are the leader, if you put yourself in a narrow angle, you protect all of us from COVID, only to realize that you've put us at greater risk when it comes to other conditions. And that is why we must look at it wholly.
So my question is, easing the current restrictions, what are the conditions we are looking at before we can ease them?
Absolutely. So we know that social distancing, having not been in direct contact, can help to slow down the virus. Slow down as in reduce transmission or cut it out. So let's take schools. If kids are 80 in a class, to make the class full, I'm just thinking aloud. One of the ways is that you can have a rule of thumb measure. Every class should be half full. So half full means that instead of taking 80, there will be 40. The 40 will ensure that there would have been greater space than you'd have had with the 80.
You're talking about measures to apply post-lockdown. I'm talking about conditions to inform easing of restrictions.
Oh, okay. I think, but we've eased some of the restrictions, so we've more or less gotten beyond. But some of the things you look at, one, you look at the number of cases you are recording daily. So Australia eased most of their restrictions. When they move from 320 cases a day, their highest count, to about 20 or under 20. So they are still recording cases.
So with the number of active cases going down, does it mean then that we are heading towards an easing of restrictions?
For me, there were three things that informed our easing down. First of all, our infection rate was quite low. Low meaning when you have 100 people come into contact with a COVID case, between 1 to 3 get it. So once you know the infection rate is low, you can ease the restrictions, but with all the protocols in place. The other thing that informed us easing restrictions is the hospital admissions rate. In fact, we've had one of the lowest, because like I said, most of our people are well. Countries that have ensured strict lockdown are honestly being overwhelmed, their health system. And so they had a reason to lock people down so they can have time to control the situation. And there's a third one, which allows you to ease restrictions, which is the viral activity. What is the spread? What is the rate at which you are adding new cases? I think when you look at other countries, it's been way significant than ours.
Dr. Bernardo Coboy, I still didn't get a definite answer on whether or not we can head towards easing restrictions in the future. But you know what?
I think simple. We are heading towards that. It's not
in,
a
how
matter
many
of
weeks? In how many weeks?
No. I mean, when you talk about schools, I think the next update in terms of review will be the end of this month. And I will not be surprised that at the end of this month, we would have prepared guidelines for places like the churches, for the schools, for social gatherings. The things that must be in place for them to happen. That I'm sure we are working on.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of excited people watching us, hearing
but
that.
Do you know, talking in the studio now is a form of easing of restrictions.
You're coming here. We are, like you said, we are wearing nose masks.
In countries where it's absolute, you didn't have all.
I even have to be at home. Broadcasting from home. Yes. You have the points there. Dr. Bernard Okoboy, thank you so much. Now, government is investing 1.5 billion Ghana cedis to $1.5 billion, pardon me, to improving water supply into the homes of Ghanaians. This was made known by Managing Director of Ghana Water Company Limited, Engineer Dr. Clifford Brymer, was speaking on Prime Morning. Engineer Brymer says working on these projects came to a halt because of the coronavirus pandemic, but will resume in the shortest possible time.
This year, government is investing over $1 billion. If you look at, we are supposed to have Pong Phase 2 coming on. Techima is coming on. So all together across the country, it's over 1.5, almost 1.5, 1.3, 1.5 billion dollars that is coming on. And that is how you can get water supply, because the population will continue to increase. And Ghana is urbanizing. And for that matter, Ghana Water Company operational areas will continue to increase. If you go to a place like Wabenya, for a very long time, they never had water. We had to extend water to them. And where do we get the extra water? Still the same quantity that we are distributing to everybody.
So this $1.5 billion investment,
yes,
was this budgeted for 2020?
Yes. So if you take the budget, you see the names of the towns that are supposed to be covered in it. That's what has been actually budgeted for.
Now, he also appealed to Ghanaians to store water since supplies from his outfit cannot meet consumers' demand.
We have a pipeline running from our production center in Pong to Tema. This pipeline is 42 inches, a very big 1.2 meters wide, and it's almost 50 years old. And this is a steel pipe, so it's rusted, and some points there are serious leakages. And where it is open, very easy to detect. But where it's not open, the leakage cannot be detected. One of the areas got very serious leakage, and we needed to work on it. And we announced to the customers, the general public, that we're going to work on this pipeline. And for that matter, there will be shortage.
When was the announcement made?
Oh, so on the 14th of May.
Okay.
But this is an emergency, so you couldn't predict. And so it came as and when we were going to shut. But mostly we ask customers to store water.
Now, 3 people, including the driver of the district chief executive for Amansia South District in the Ashanti region, have been shot dead in a suspected armed robbery attack. The deceased, who received multiple gunshot wounds, were shot at different locations at Manso Dadiese near Datano in the Amansia South District when the group of armed men stormed the community. The armed men are said to have blocked the main road leading to the town in the wake of the attack, while shooting indiscriminately at anyone they see at sight at about 7 p.m. Monday. My colleague Ohiming Teria is on this beat and joins us live with more. Ohiming, give us an idea of the exact location of this incident. Right, Ohiming, if you can hear us, give us an idea of where exactly this happened.
Thank you, Daniel. We are inside the Manso Dadiese community in the Amansia South district of the Ashanti region. We have been speaking to residents who witnessed the incident last night, and they tell us the group of robbers, about 8 of them, stormed the community about 7 p.m. and started shooting indiscriminately. And later they got to know that the robbers have killed a middle-aged man identified as Mr. Fahmi Danso, aged 60 years. Mr. Danso was resting on a bench in front of his house, and when the gunshots were being fired, one of the children asked him to go home so that he can run from the scene. But unfortunately, the robbers shot him. And then we were learning that the robbers actually came to rob
a gold dealer shop here at Manso that they are saying. So when they succeeded in robbing the gold firm, then they started shooting to put some fear into the residents. Daniel.
Ohiming, thank you so much for that update. We'll get more in later bulletins. That's Alive on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Coming up in business, total value of mobile money accounts held with commercial banks sees significant increase. That's coming up next. Stay with us.
Is it the rumble in your tummy when you've had too much to eat? Or that headache you had from yesterday's party? Then, number 10 liver salt is for you. Number 10 gives you quick, effective relief from nausea, indigestion, heartburns, hangovers, and hyperacidity. And with different flavors of fruity sweetness, it's a pretty tasty way to end an uncomfortable situation. Number 10 liver salt from Ernest Chemists, because everyone needs a chemist.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. The total value of mobile money accounts held with commercial banks at the end of March this year saw a significant increase. Its value now stands at 3.9 billion cedis compared with 2.7 billion for the same period last year. George Rafe has the breakdown.
These figures were captured in the latest data from the Bank of Ghana covering mobile money transactions in the country. It shows that in terms of transactions done on just mobile money, the value reached 33 billion Ghana cedis ending March this year. This represents a significant increase compared to 27 billion Ghana cedis recorded in March 2019. The service currently employs about 239,000 persons that have registered with the various telecom operators as agents, up from 189,000 in the same period last year. Latest numbers may support claims that the country might be ready for going cashless, looking at the volume and the value of transactions on mobile money platforms and the fact that majority of institutions now would want to explore electronic channels and means to transfer money to other parties or call them their loved ones. Government, for instance, has announced that from June this year, payment for government transactions will be done through electronic means. This is part of efforts to go cashless as a country. The same data from the Bank of Ghana showed that almost 2,000 transactions were done on the mobile money interoperability, valued at 166 million Ghana cedis, ending March this year. The number of debit cards issued by banks stands at 4.5 million as at the end of March this year. While for many, the numbers may show that the country might be ready for us to move towards an era where little cash is used in the various financial transactions.
Now, the CEO of the Chamber of Mines, Suleiman Koni, says mining companies will want a review of aspects of the mining law with particular attention on the ratification of large-scale concessions. He says this is a major drawback for mining companies that want to either expand or set up altogether in the country. In 2007, 21 concessions were issued without going through Parliament, and the issue is currently before the Supreme Court.
But within the mining industry, the interpretation of ratification is not the same as prior approval. That is our understanding. Because if you consider the Constitution, it talks about, in some instances, it talks about prior approval. In other instances, it talks about ratification. So if the framers of the Constitution meant that ratification meant prior approval, they would have said so. In any case, there's still no timeline around ratification. There's no timeline at all around ratification. Again, if you look at the law itself, it requires that mining companies should start production within 2 years of grant of lease. So you are racing against the clock. Yeah. So you see, so mining companies are caught in a bind. That if you don't start production with 2 years, government has a right to cancel your lease or suspend your lease. And at the same time, you also have this ratification. And that is why, for us, there's a kind of flexibility around ratification. If we had our own way, ratification would be done prior to commencement of mining. Our expectation is that once government grants the leases to mining companies, duty bearers should actually take this to Parliament. Because what companies cannot do is to present these leases to Parliament.
If you had the opportunity to change Act 703, anything in it today, what will the Chamber want to change?
Wow, that's a big one. But I think for us, the critical one, which is keeping the whole industry awake at night, has to do with the question of ratification. And that's a big one. And we would rather have some more certainty around ratification.
And there's more coming up at the top of the hour on the marketplace. Sports is up next.
A pediatrician with a passion for her community in the Upper East region, infected with COVID-19. An experience she calls a brush with death.
Thought I was going to die. Yeah, that was what was running through. So I would just sit down and then ask myself, so what next?
Medical officer in charge of the Bolgatanga Hospital's neonatal intensive care unit, Dr. Gillian Boogie, shares the story of her COVID-19 journey to recovery.
I spent 8 days in the medical ICU, and then later on I was moved to Fevers unit where I spent 12 days.
There were times I would be, after talking to her, I was like, God, what's happening? And I'm attempting to pray, and I'll spend the time crying.
A COVID-19 recovery journey, the Gillian Boogie story, 6:30 p.m. tonight on the Joy News Channel.
Time for sports here, and we get straight into it. And an audit report on the activities of the National Sports Authority and the Ministry of Youth and Sports by the Auditor General, cited by Joy Sports, has revealed that the NSA misapplied monies meant for the fixing of seats at the Baba Yara Stadium. According to the report, the NSA misapplied 180,000 Ghana cedis 494 meant to fix broken seats at the Baba Yara Stadium when the Ghana Education Service used the facility for the inter-college sports competition. Now, even though the amount was paid, according to the report, the seats had not been fixed during the audit. The NSA had used the money instead to organize a 2017 sports festival. The report has therefore recommended the monies must be refunded. Auditors also noted that the Sports Ministry did not have a policy on operations and maintenance of the stadia, and the NSA did not have a plan to operate and maintain the various stadia. Now, the report indicates management of the Sports Ministry and the NSA as well did not have monitoring and evaluation strategies to evaluate the performance of the various stadia to ensure their physical and financial sustainability. So as promised, tonight we come your way with a very special edition of the PM Express, where we've got a fantastic panel. We've got Robert Marawa, formerly of SuperSport, now with Marawa TV. We've got ace English Premier League commentators John Champion and Peter Jury, and President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, Kwabena Yeboah, joining us. We're looking forward to having a fantastic chat. And just to tell you how prepared we are, my colleague Gary Alsmith, who's the main anchor for the show, was having a little testing session with ace English Premier League commentator John Champion.
Are we ready? We good? Okay. So we are here for the testing session for Tuesday's PM Express, where we are having a discussion on football after COVID-19. What's going to happen? We've lined up quite the panel, and one of them is here with us. John Champion!
Gary, hello, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How is England?
England's beautiful. I'm just back from a 40-mile bike ride in the English countryside, so what could be better than that on a glorious early summer afternoon? Perfect.
Well, I mean, you seem like you are very sprightly. You should be younger than I am.
I don't know about sprightly. My back doesn't feel sprightly after 40 miles, but it's the best way of keeping active in difficult times like these. So I'd much rather be watching football, of course, but as that's not necessarily an option in the competitions that I work on, cycling is the next best thing. So I'm very happy with that.
Exactly. You're talking about competition you are working on. When was your first commentary gig, John?
Oh, you have to go back to the mists of time. 1984, you make me feel very old. I was only 19 at the time. It was Leyton Orient against York City in one of the lower leagues for a local BBC radio station. My first national commentary would be around about 1989, 1990. My first World Cup, first of 8 of them so far, 8 and counting, was 1990. So I've been doing this quite a long time. But I'm still full of enthusiasm for the broadcasting and for the football, and indeed for joining you on Tuesday night on PM Express on Joy News, 9 o'clock Ghana time. It's ringed in red in my diary. I'm building towards it.
Exactly. Make sure that diary doesn't get missing, John. We'll be looking forward to all your nuggets and the discussion with the other guys, all right?
Absolutely. It's the centerpiece of my week. Looking forward to it.
Exactly. So, PM Express, that will be on Tuesday, football after COVID. John here will be with Peter and John. And Robert sounds very biblical, like a biblical crew. And Kwabena Yeboah, Ghana's finest. Please join us, 9 p.m. Ghana time, 10 p.m. UK time, 11 p.m. South Africa time. See ya.
So you have to make a date at 9 p.m. And remember, there are 2 parts on the show, yeah? First, we're talking about what football would look like after COVID. That's very important. And the other half of the show, we're talking a lot about the experiences and try to celebrate the talents that we've got. We hope that you'll be part of the show by getting your questions ready and running them through our various social media accounts. I'm George Adi Jr. That's your sport for the afternoon.
Everywhere in the world, the media is getting saturated with a lot of hoax news stories, false claims, exaggerated headlines. Simply, fake news is spreading fast.
In this pandemic, fake news is the new infodemic. But fearless journalists at Joy News are on the front line fighting fake news with a series of fact-checked, compelling news reports. Joy News Combat Fake News Project, clearing the blurry lines between fake news and the news.
Now in world news, the Vice President of South Sudan, Riek Machar, was part of a task force to fight coronavirus, is in self-isolation after testing positive for COVID-19. Mr. Machar said as several other members of the task force were infected, a new team was taking over their work. His wife, who is Defense Minister Angelina Teny, some bodyguards and some other staff have also tested positive for the virus. Experts worry that decades of conflict has left South Sudan incapable of dealing with a surge in new infections. So far, South Sudan has recorded 236 cases of COVID-19 and 4 deaths. Now, elsewhere, U.S. President Donald Trump has criticized the World Health Organization, WHO, for not responding strongly to reports of racism and discrimination against Africans living in the southern Chinese city of Gwangju in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak. Now, Mr. Trump has also called the WHO health body a puppet of China and has threatened to permanently freeze U.S. funding. He has also repeatedly accused China of failings in its response to the pandemic. In his letter to WHO Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, President Trump accused the body of not commenting on China's racially discriminatory actions. And that's it for World News. Up next is Showbiz with Becky.
Knock, bang, bang with a cash. My name is Kweku Ejaya Mwabusompim, also known as DJ Fantastic. Multimedia Group is celebrating 25 years of media excellence, and I'm a beneficiary of the Multimedia Educare Fund. I want to thank the Multimedia Group for investing in my life. Grateful hearts, Asada.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Showbiz here on Joy News Today. Now, Dinah Antwi Hamilton is an award-winning gospel minister who has over the years done nothing but inspire with her music. Dinah says she is not retiring anytime soon.
Call her the gospel diva, a medical nurse who doubles as a minister of the word through music. Dinah Antwi Hamilton today is one of the most sought-after gospel musicians in Ghana. After her breakthrough with her first album, Osoro Bekasa, Dinah has never looked back since. She won several awards, including the Gospel Artist of the Year at the VGMAs and recently Woman of the Year at the 3 Music Awards.
I think in the past, we have got the nominations, we haven't picked up the awards, but God, I believe that it was in the timing of God.
Born into a Christian family, all she wanted to do was sing and inspire.
I think after nursing school, I had started writing songs, wasn't too confident with it. A particular song I wrote that's doing so well, when you come home, I think I'll release a video to it.
And she has since delivered on that with powerful songs like Yehoah Beshe, Insiwiye, Insentrani Nyankopon, Monio, Wasem. Does she plan on retiring soon?
No, I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. I enjoy doing this.
Of course not. The world needs more of Dinah Antwi Hamilton.
Just this word, no long thing, oh Lord, I need your help, and no one else. Just this word, no long thing, oh Lord, I
need your help. Away from from Dinah Hamilton. Dancehall artist Shatta Wale in an Instagram live on Monday encouraged his followers to subscribe to internet marketing, especially during these times of COVID-19 outbreak. The musician, speaking about his Tuesday market on Twitter, advised his followers to join the trend and make money for themselves, as that is his wish for all his fans.
I like creating comedy small, I like making people laugh small, but at least I want us to enjoy something. I get what I'm saying? Because it's getting to that time where everything is going to be online. It's getting to that time when you want to do business, it will be so good, then we get conference call, then we do business. I get what I'm saying? So I beg, the reason why I want to talk to you people be this, tomorrow, Tuesday market. That's why they play this song. I play this song, make it ginger you. Money will they look for, be anything. If you don't get money, be man. If you don't get money, be woman. I get what I'm saying. Listen, I won't play them again. Make you just listen. So we keep trying.
That was dancehall artist Shatta Wale, and that's all we have for Showbiz here on Joy News Today. Over to you, Daniel.
Thanks very much, Becky, and thanks for joining us now. This is where we end this bulletin of Joy News Today. My name is Daniel Daze. Many thanks for joining us, but we are not having the marketplace today. We'll take you rather to the floor of Parliament, which has been recalled. The House is currently debating the Health Minister's statement on CSM and COVID-19. Currently speaking, Member of Parliament for Lejokuku Krowo and Deputy Health Minister Dr. Bernard Okoboy.
Mr. Speaker, very soon, the beginning of the end of COVID story will start to be told. I thank you very much.
Leadership, Honorable Secretary. After the Speaker, I'll give you the leadership.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have listened to my colleague, the Minister for Health, and we need to, I'm told that my voice is very low and so sonorous that I'm not being heard. And so, with your kind permission, if I may remove the nose mask. Mr. Speaker, I thank the Minister because he's come to the House to update the House on what he earlier submitted to the House in the form of a statement. And I also want to add my voice to the colleagues who have really commended highly the work of the frontline workers. And the frontline workers are not only those in the health sector, but it includes the security personnel, and even some of my colleagues. The Minister himself is now a frontline worker. His Excellency the President is a frontline worker. So are many MPs who are also frontline workers. So please, it's important we commend everybody for at least putting their hands to the wheel. Mr. Speaker, but there's one issue I want to clarify. The issue of what is referred to as other CSM or just meningitis. Mr. Speaker, the facts that I have from the technical people on the ground in the Upper West region is that we have both bacterial and viral infection. We have both bacterial and viral infection. But the majority of the cases are bacterial. And they are from the serogroup of X, which really there's no vaccine, no known vaccine in the world. I have tried to get some from outside the country, and I haven't succeeded because I've been told there's no vaccine.
Dance Terror, your dance channel.
Here's a street dance, you understand what I'm saying? We're killing it. And beyond, you understand what I'm saying? I drop the mic.
Stick and stay, don't go away. We'll be right back.
This is your girl, Abba.
My name is Robert.
And right now you're dancing with Dance Terror TV. I love you guys so much. Tiptoe. Mwah.
Brace yourself for 100% world-class dance entertainment. From dance videos to dance moves.
So for you out there, you need this, man.
Dance aerobics to Dancing with the Stars.
My name is Nikki Samona.
It's your boy Article 1, and I accept
this dance challenge.
Dance challenge.
Get inspired weekly.
I'm right here on Dancepiration.
Dancepiration. From the church to the streets. From the concerts to interviews. From social dancing to dance sports. We got it covered.
It's your boy Zeke and it's your boy Zeke, you understand?
For what's new and what's trending, look no further. This is your world of dance.
The number one.
If you're not watching this channel, then you are watching yourself. If you're not watching yourself, put the TV off. I said it.
Dance Terror, your dance channel.
For on-the-go news and videos, connect with us on social media. Like our Facebook page, Dance Terror TV, or follow Dance Terror TV on Instagram, or Dance Terror TV on Twitter, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, Dance Terror TV. Dance Terror, your dance channel.
What's good, man? Dance Terror, man. Your face, man. This is the world best Afro dancer, Mickey Flex, the greatest. On here, Charlie. We did here. We can't support. You know what I'm saying? Like, this happens every year. Y'all better know. Dance in Ghana be big, mad, and lucrative. The best thing to tell is that dance in Ghana no they go, they lie. That's the Terror, man. Keep watching Dance the Terror TV, man. Straight, man. We out here.
I